Back here on the Ironbirds Broadcast Network, Michael Marcantonini with Ironbirds pitcher Trey Gibson. Trey, had you on once last year. Great to have you back on the broadcast this year. Thanks for doing this.
Yep, thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
One thing we talked about last year was, you go through your first full pro season. A lot changes in the routine. Now here into your second full pro season, how are things going for you?
So far this year, it's been pretty good. Last year I remember talking to you about I was, my day-to-day focuses and how I was trying to go about getting better as a pitcher. Last year was a lot of mechanical and internal focuses. This year so far I've been focusing on two-strike pitches, so shifting it to more of an external focus. Just trying to put hitters away quicker, and when I get them in those two-strike counts. So that's been the goal, developmental goal so far this year.
So those goals right there that you just mentioned, is that based off of organizational feedback that you got, personal goals, or some combination of both?
It's definitely organizational feedback, but it's also my own goals because I am a baseball player. I'll watch the games and notice those things myself. But we also have the O's behind me saying, these are things that you can get better at, and I see them myself. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to accept that that's the route that I need to attack.
You told me last year that among the pitches that you throw, the sweeper and changeup were pitches that you threw more last year than you ever had before. So what's the progress been like with those pitches?
The sweeper I've been throwing the sweeper a lot harder this year. I've been running up to 84, 86. It's probably a little bit shorter, but I still think the stuff on the sweeper is pretty good. I've banged the changeup. I haven't thrown a changeup yet this year. I've kind of replaced it with a different type of slider. It's called a death ball.
Okay.
It's kind of just a hard slider. It kind of just has that vertical downward movement. And that pitch so far this year I've had good success with it. We got a lot of swing and misses and weak contact with it. I picked that up over the offseason. So it's been a good pitch so far for me this year. And that's honestly one of the pitches I'm trying to work on, getting those two-strike locations down below the zone. When you start throwing a new pitch, you have to, get those kinks out of there.
I know Michael Ferret throws the death ball too, and his has been really good. Where did you pick that up, and why did you incorporate that into your arsenal?
Funny story. All I'll say is that I knew that I was able to throw it back in high school, just never did because I had other pitches. I thought my curveball was too good to waste on another pitch. But then the last week of the season last year, our pitching coach last year, Jordy Henry, comes up to me and tells me, hey, if you want to throw any new pitches in this last bullpen of the year, go for it. And that was a pitch that I was let's see what this can do. It was nasty back then. It's been coming along since then. So shout out to Jordy and them for letting me do that back then, because now I have a new pitch.
A lot of guys in the organization have benefited from the pitching lab that the Orioles have not too far from here in Aberdeen. You guys get some work in there every once in a while.
Yeah.
How has that helped you?
It's pretty cool. They have all the force plates inside the mound so they can see how much force you're putting into the ground. And then obviously they have all the cameras. Those tools are super useful when you're trying to get feedback on all the mechanical changes that players trying to do. When I was talking to you last year about how I was trying to move differently, that was a big tool that we used to track that. So, I think it's a great little tool. The place is sick too.
As a pitcher, more than anything, routine is huge. Tell me about the pre-start routine.
I start off with a hot tub. Then I jump in in the cold shower, kind of cool off real quick. I go through some arm care exercises, do some soft tissue throughout my whole body. I'll start moving around, stretching out, and I'll get some an arm stretch and do some work with the trainers to finally get that last ready to go. And then I'll do a little dynamic warm up outside. And then once I put those bands on my wrists, it's time to go.
Tell me about some big staples in your diet, or caffeine intake, stuff like that that's big for a pitcher.
I'm not too big on the caffeine, probably just 1 or 2 cups of coffee a day.
Okay.
But I'm a big eater. I love to eat steak, veggies, potatoes. I keep it pretty simple with what I eat, but I do eat a lot of it. If I'm go to a grocery store, I'm buying about 6 to 7 pounds of meat per time, per trip. I love to eat. Yeah. So a lot of steak, a lot of meat, a lot of veggies.
Tell me about some of your favorite MLB players growing up.
Steven Strasburg and Max Scherzer. I grew up a Nats fan. Okay. It was them and the Orioles that were on TV every day. hate to say it, but I was watching Max Scherzer pitch. So those were my two favorite pitchers, growing up watching every couple days. So I feel like I've tried to model my own emotional attitude like Max Scherzer. Like I always thought the way his intensity on the mound was so cool, and I thought that had to be a big reason of the success he's had as a pitcher. So I feel like there's a little trick in there. Reach into some crazy.
Yeah, I feel that. I love it. All right, last one for you. If you could take one pitch and incorporate into your pitch mix from an MLB pitcher, either current or former, who would you take a pitch from, and what pitch would it be?
Throw really good breaking balls. I feel like I need to steal a changeup and off speed from someone. I don't know, that Kodai Senga's forkball, I would love to have something like that. Or Steven Strasburg's changeup. He had a nasty one back then when he could still move his arm.
We've got Ironbirds pitcher Trey Gibson joining me on the broadcast. Trey, thanks so much for doing this. Great interview as always.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.